What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Winners Win. Today we're going to be talking about should you or should you not lend money to friends and family. Should you give them a loan? Should you expect them to pay back this money in a certain time frame? We're going to be going into all those details. We're even going to be talking about why I personally choose not to lend money out, and if I do, what are the parameters I set and the boundaries I set whenever I do lend money out. Okay, and honestly, I think the most important thing that we're going to be talking about is Kobe Bryant's letter to himself whenever he turned, later on in his career, and he wanted to look back and try and write a letter to his 18-year-old self. It actually is really inspiring for me, and I'm sure a lot of other basketball players that grew up playing basketball like myself can learn about lending money to friends and family. So, without any further ado, let's get right into the video. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment below for any future suggestions or any video ideas that you want me to do in the future. And without a doubt, let's get right to the video, guys. Alright guys, so the first things first, we gotta talk about, are you even in a position where you should even be thinking about, lending out or giving one of your friends or family members a loan? Like, do you have your money in order to where you should even be thinking about this, essentially, right? First things first, you need to take care of your own finances and get your own finances in control, right? So if you're not financially stable or in control, then you should definitely not be thinking about lending or having, family members, give them a loan or help them out with money, right? And I know sometimes this can be a hard thing because you want to help people out as much as you can, but honestly, you need to focus on yourself and getting your own finances first before you think about ever lending or loaning money out to anybody. Because the truth is, if you don't take care of yourself first, then you're never going to get your own finances in order, right? So first things first, I want you to prioritize your finances. Make sure you have at least 6 months rent in a savings account. I'll repeat myself. You need at least 6 months rent saved in a savings account, bare minimum, and you need to have a steady income, okay? So you need to be every month getting an income from, some business, or, you're employed at some company. You need to have an income. And the reason I bring this up is because there's going to be a lot of trust fund babies that, get some money and they think that, I can help my friend, I can help my family. Because what happens is when you do inherit some money as a trust fund baby, first thing that happens is a lot of friends and family, if they, learn about your inheritance, they're going to ask you for money, right? And really what a lot of these guys don't understand is they don't have money. They are not wealthy. Just because someone gives you a handout and you have a bunch of money does not mean you have a bunch of money that you can lend out, okay? Because honestly, you're probably not financially, fluent, and you're probably going to lose that money really quickly. So the first things first, you can't just have a bunch of money, okay? You need to have a steady income. So if you're a trust fund baby where you get some money, and you also have a job where you're making $4,000 a month, then yeah, you can start thinking about, lending money out to friends and family and helping others out, right? So let's just get that out of the water. First things first, take care of your own finances before you can take care of others. You definitely shouldn't take care or even think about taking care of your friends or family if you're struggling to pay your own bills every month, right? If you're struggling to pay your own bills every month, anything like that, you should definitely not even think about lending money out to friends. And that really comes down to, you never want to lend or give money that you cannot lose, right? So if you're struggling with your bills and you're kind of struggling with your own finances, then it's really just gonna hurt you worse, because when you lend money out to someone, you're gonna want that money back. You're gonna have those expectations set to get that money back, and that's whenever this whole concept becomes a problem for me, okay? We're gonna get into a little deeper on that side of things, but first things first, do not lend money to friends or family if your finances yourself are not in order. And how do you know if your finances are in order? 1, do you have a stable income every month? 2, do you have at least 6 months rent saved up in a savings account? If you do not meet those 2 requirements, then don't even think about lending or loaning out money to a friend or family member. Focus on yourself and make sure you get your own finances in order. Alright, let's move on to the next topic here. Alright guys, so this next topic is pretty self-explanatory, but I have to go over it because a lot of people are going to ask about this, and basically it comes down to, have you already, developed trust with this person that is asking to, borrow money from you, right? This can't be some random person that's on the street that wants to, borrow money, or they're asking for a loan, This should be someone close within your circle, a close friend or family member that you have known for years, that you have developed trust, where you have depended on them in some, fashion, and they were always dependable. They were there for you, right? So that's the first things first. Have you built trust with this person, right? If this is somebody that's coming up to you asking for a loan or asking for some money, and you feel uncomfortable in any way, then say no, okay? That's the best advice I could give you in this situation. If you are uncomfortable, or if you have any, red flag that's peeing off in your body whenever you think about giving them money, immediately do not give them money. That is a very, very good sign, and your gut is probably right more often than not. So if your gut feeling is saying that you shouldn't trust this person, you're just uncomfortable, then definitely do not lend them money, okay? You need to at least feel comfortable with this person, be like, okay, this is someone that I know is a good person, they have integrity, this is someone that I can trust, and I believe that they will pay me back if I did loan them out money, right? So it really just comes to, have you established that trust, and how long have y'all known each other, okay? Do not lend your money to somebody you just met 6 months ago. Y'all say y'all are friends, and y'all call each other brothers, but y'all don't really have that trust established yet that a lot of people, develop over 2 to 3 years and even longer. So yeah, first things first, do you have trust with this person? And if you're uncomfortable at all, do not lend them money, no matter what it is, right? Alright guys, so this next topic, is gonna probably be difficult for a lot of people, but if you are considering, loaning or lending, friends or family money, you need to be able to make sure that you set boundaries, right? And what I mean by this is, I'm not going to lend or loan money out to someone who is acting or behaving a way that I do not agree with, right? So I'm not going to lend this person money if I know they're, on probation and they keep messing up, they're failing drug tests, they're drinking and driving, they're hanging out with people they shouldn't hang around, and all this behavior that I just don't support, right? Or you don't support, right? You need to make sure that this person is not going to come back another 2 months, be like, hey, I need some more money, but look, hey, I promise, I'm going to do this. Look, you need to be straight up with these, friend or, family member, be like, look, I will help you out and I will lend you some money, but I expect whenever I do lend you this money that your behavior changes, because I do not support this behavior, and I will not finance someone destroying themselves, right? Because what you have to realize is that sometimes you can be, crippling. You can be hurting someone by financing their actions and their behaviors, and you could really be doing a lot more damage than you are helping. So you need to make sure you set that boundary where you're not going to finance, behavior that you do not agree with, period. Okay? If I'm giving you money and I'm trying to help you out, but you won't help yourself, right? If they won't help themselves, then you're just going to be enabling them, and you're just going to be hurting them more than you're helping. All right? So first things first, you got to set those boundaries and be like, look, I'm not going to help you. I'm not going to lend money to you if you're not going to help yourself, because I will not finance this behavior. That needs to be very firm whenever you do this. Trust me, it'll save you a lot of problems later on if you do decide to lend someone money. Okay, so I know that was a little, deep. I didn't want to go, that personal, but it needs to be said. And let's move on to our next topic, because I feel like it's going to be the one that I enjoy the most and that a lot of people are going to get out of. So now to the, big thing that I have a problem with when it comes to lending and giving, family members and friends money. What I have a problem with is this changes the entire dynamic of your relationship with this individual. Whether it's a friend or a family member, when you ever decide, or whenever you decide to, give someone money, essentially loan someone money and expect them to pay that money and give it back to you, what you're doing is you're changing the dynamic of our relationship now, right? It pretty much makes it a master-slave relationship. I know even if you're the nicest master ever, you are their best friend, best family member, y'all are long time, buddies, y'all trust each other more than anything, right? There still changes that dynamic now where you are their master and they are your slave. I hate to put it that way, but that really is the best way to put it. And this has happened to me many times. I've lost many friends over this. And this is why I am so stern on this, is if you ever have to give or you ever have to lend money or help a friend or family member out, make sure you give as a gift. And what I mean by that is you have no expectations for them to pay that money back. Okay? Because as soon as one of my good friends called me, he said, hey, can I have $1,000? I need to pay rent. I'll pay you back next month. I give him that money, next month comes around and he hasn't paid it back. I now resent him. We now have changed our relationship from friends to some place where I hate you because you're not giving me money that I expect back. I thought we were friends. I thought we were boys. I thought I could trust you, right? So this is where I lost a lot of friends, is having that expectation. Now, if I ever help or give any friend or family member, I give as a gift. I have no expectation that they will pay that money or give me anything back in return. Take that money, that is it. But I think the real trick is to say you're giving them a loan and you expect them to pay the money back, but in your mind, you already know that you're not going to get that money back. So you don't have that resentment build, you don't have any of those problems that arise. But what happens is, whoever is lending that money will eventually stop talking to you. They might text you and be like, hey man, I'm still working on that money. Hey man, I know that you lend me this money, I appreciate it, but I still don't have the money yet. That's all you're gonna get now. So now y'all aren't friends. Now he's just complaining about this money that he owes you that he doesn't have. So what you need to do, and this is very important, is you need to say, hey man, don't worry about it. I don't want your money. Treat this as a gift, but do not expect me to give you money again. Let's just be friends. This is very important. Very important, all right? You need to remove that whole, concept of them thinking they owe you something. Okay? If they're a true friend and they're a true family member, they don't owe you anything, all right? You should just help them because you want to help them. And that is the important thing to note here, okay? I am very difficult on my friends and families because I do not lend money out at all, okay? If you come to me and you ask hey, Chase, I need to get some money for this or that, it better be a very good reason, right? I typically will only lend money out if there's some health reason, right? If my mom needs to go to the hospital for something, I will definitely think about helping her out and lending some money. I'm not gonna help with a down payment for some car that my brother needs or something. That's not urgent enough for me to lend you money, okay? And maybe that's just me being mean, but I worked for everything I got. I was fortunate enough to have, a stepdad who co-signed me on a loan one time, so I'm very thankful. But still, at the same time, I do not really believe in handouts, and I want my family to work just as hard as I did to get the money, because honestly, it's better. It just feels better when you get it on your own then you have to get a loan or have a family member help you out. It doesn't feel as good whenever you achieve what you're trying to achieve. That being said, if a friend or family member does come and approach you and they have a business opportunity and you want to invest in them, that's a different story. And that's where we're going to get into when we start talking about this Kobe Bryant letter to his 18-year-old self. Because I think it's very inspiring, and I think it really kind of nails exactly what we're talking about here. So let's go ahead and move on to this letter to Kobe Bryant's 18-year-old self. Alright guys, so I know this might not be the most interesting, but for me, as a young basketball player, I found that, Kobe Bryant's letter to his 17-year-old self, I know I said 18 earlier, but it was his 17-year-old self, was absolutely fascinating for me as someone who wanted to help my family and friends when I did become successful. So I am going to try and read this as fast as I can and not waste those guys' time, but please enjoy this because I think it is definitely going to impact y'all as it changed my life when I read it. Okay, so anyways, let's get right into it, right? Kobe Bryant writes to his 17-year-old self. Alright, he says, when your dreams come true tomorrow, you need to figure out a way to invest in the future of your family and friends. This sounds simple and you may think it's a no-brainer, but take some time to think about it further. He said, I said invest. I did not say give. Let me explain. Purely giving material things to your siblings and friends may appear to be the right decision. You love them and they were always there for you growing up. So it's only right that they should share in your success and all that comes with it. So you buy them a car, big house, pay all their bills, and you want them to live a beautiful, comfortable life, right? But the day will come when you realize that as much as you believed you were doing the right thing, you were actually holding them back. You will come to understand that you were taking care of them because it made you feel good. It made you happy to see them smiling without a care in the world. And that was extremely selfish of you. While you were feeling satisfied with yourself, you were slowly eating away at their own dreams and ambitions. You were adding material things to their lives, but subtracting the most precious gifts of all, independence and growth. Understand that you are about to be a leader of the family, and this involves making tough choices, even if your sibling and friends do not understand them at the time. Invest in their future, don't just give. Very important. I love that he says this. Invest in your friends and family's future, don't just give, right? Use your success, wealth, and influence to put them in the best position to realize their own dreams and find their own purpose. Put them through school, set them up with job interviews, help them become leaders in their own right. Hold them to the same level of hard work and dedication that it took you to get where you are at now. I'm writing you now that you can begin this process immediately, and so that you don't have to deal with the hurt and struggle of weaning them off the addiction that you facilitated. That addiction only leads to anger, resentment, and jealousy from everyone involved, including yourself. As time goes on, you will see them grow independently and have their own ambitions and their own lives, and your relationship with all of them will be so much better as a result, right? So he says a little bit more here. Basically, to me, that was the most important part in the bulk of what I wanted you guys to hear, right? I think Kobe almost put this perfectly. And this is why I wanted to let my audience know about this whole letter to himself, because really what he's saying is that you could be a detriment to your family and friends whenever you think that you are helping them, right? As he said, he was selfish because it brought him satisfaction when he would, buy his family member this, buy his friend this. But what he was actually saying, that it was hurting them, because you are not giving them one of the most precious things in life. And what that is growing independently and not having to say like it was because of my son Kobe, or it was because of this, it was because of that. You can say it was all on you, and you grew into the person you were because of you. And that's what I wanted to share. This really was, you really want your friends and family to accomplish things on their own. And this kind of goes back to that old, instead of giving a man a bunch of fish, you want to teach them to fish themselves, right? teach your friends and family to fish, right? So if they're having money problems, right, you lended them some money, but they asked you a second time. If they ask you a second time, you need to be like, look, how can I help you here? Are you not budgeting properly? You know, let me teach you about money. Can we maybe invest into something that you're interested in, right? Set your family and friends up for success on their own lane, okay? You don't want to set them up where they depend on you and your money. And I just wanted to really be clear on this because I think it's so important that a lot of people realize what I'm saying right here, right? And what Kobe was saying to himself is that you really want to set your friends and family up to be successful on their own so they can live the happiest life, all right? They won't get as much fulfillment, and they will actually become addicted to something that they shouldn't be addicted to if you just keep giving them money and trying to make them happy when you're really just fulfilling yourself and you're being selfish. All right, that's enough. I'm not going to harp on this anymore. That's about all I'm going to go on this. But yeah, let's go on to the last topic. If you are going to give money, how should you lend that money? Alright guys, so I know we talked about a lot here on this video, but let's go over a little overview of everything and let's kind of, simplify everything we talked about and really kind of get down to what should you do if somebody asks to lend or borrow money from you, right? So number one, we talked about this before, make sure your finances are in order before you even think about this. 6 months rent in a savings account and you have a steady income before you even think about this, right? Now, secondly, if you are going to lend or give money, give as a gift, right? You can use, the whole test idea, like I said earlier, where you tell them that it's going to be a loan and you expect money back, but deep down in your mental, you are not expecting any money and that you think that they're not even going to pay you back. You just have to do that so you don't build that resentment and, really affect your relationship with this other person, right? So in your head, you're just going to be like, okay, I'm not really expecting this money back, but they think they have to pay you back, and it's kind of a test. If they do pay everything back, then you can trust them, right? It's a test. So then maybe if they did ask for money or they did ask for something, you'd be like, look, you did this the first time, I'm going to give it to you again because you were a solid time, or you were a solid guy the first time, or a solid woman whenever I told you I was going to do this, you really owned up to it and you did exactly what I wanted. All right, and that's another way where you can develop trust. But at the same time, if they don't pay you back, right, you need to be able to confront them and make sure you say, hey, look, don't worry about it. Think of this as a gift. I'm your friend. Let's just be friends. Don't worry about it, right? You don't want them to have that resentment built up, and you don't want to lose a friend over something as stupid as just lending some money, right? All right, so after you get those two things, the next thing that you really have to focus on is if this repeats multiple times, you lend them some money and they ask you for money again, you need to make sure when they ask you for money that it's not because of some bad decisions that they are making. If they are making bad decisions, which is leading them to, ask for money, then you need to sit them down and be like, how can I help you? You know what I mean? Is it because your budgeting's off? Are you spending all your money on weed? Are you spending all your money on alcohol? How can we figure this out here? Is it because your job isn't making enough income? Is there any way we can, maybe narrow down and find a skill you like? Can I invest in you? Can we make this a business to where I'm not just giving you money, right? I want to invest in you and I want to, do something that you want to do for the future, right? So yeah, 1, 2, 3, real simple. And the last thing you want to keep in mind is if they are a true friend, right? If this is a really good friend and you turn them down, they should be okay with that. They shouldn't be getting mad at you for this or that. If they do get mad, they aren't a true friend, number one. And if they do ask you and you do say yes and you loan them that money, you have to make sure you're not enabling them, as we discussed in the Kobe Bryant letter to himself, right? So it's real simple, not as crazy as a lot of people make this out to be. I know this is like one of the most common questions I see in the finance world. Should I lend money? Should I not? I hope this helped a lot of you guys. I know personally I've gone through many different occasions where I probably shouldn't have lent money or I didn't know how to properly do it. So I hope this answers all those questions. But if you have any other questions, leave them in the comments below. Please like and subscribe because this video actually takes a lot of time and I put a lot of work into these videos. I know they may not seem like that, but I really do. It takes me at least 8 to 10 hours just to do one video a week, and I have a 40 hours a week job. I stream, I try and make beats, so I do a lot. Please, I would really appreciate it if you show some love. Give me a like and subscribe. Not too much to ask for, but that is going to be all for today's video. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for listening. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you on another episode of Winners Win Finance. Thank you.